Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to another episode. My guest today is a woman called Nicki Petrossi. She has a channel called Scrolling to Death, which is very apt for where we are in the world. And if you are a parent, you will definitely get that we're in a battle. We're in an all-out war against tech and our children's attention. It seems very difficult to navigate as a parent. My wife and I often are discussing how best to do it. We don't want this thing to be so divisive in our home. So you have to try and coexist with this machine, this thing that causes so many uncomfortable discussions. I myself struggle with it. I think every human who has one probably struggles with boundaries. When not to be on it. And, I if I'm completely honest, when I'm bored and I want to check out, it's so easy to get into the doom scroll world. And it's shocking how, like a tractor beam, like in Star Wars when they hit the tractor beam that pulled in the spaceship, it feels like that. I'm like, whoa, it feels like it just pulls you in. So yeah, as parents, we're trying to navigate this. It's not getting any easier. There's more and more games and distractions. So Nicki has been an activist, taken to the streets, trying to lobby, trying to take these tech companies to task to put in Roblox. And funny enough, Roblox is one of the worst offenders. Unfortunately, my kid plays Roblox, but there are no roadblocks in Roblox. There are no guardrails, very little, and predators have been found on there and whatnot. So anyway, this will all come up in our discussion. I hope you enjoy it. It's an important topic. We need to be talking about it a lot these days and figuring out how the heck to navigate it. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Nicki Petrossi, thanks for making the time. I'm very interested in this subject, which we'll get into because I have children, 4 of them. And there's a lot of talk in our house and a lot of fights in our house over this thing. So just to fill our listeners in, maybe just like what got you in, like you have a pretty successful podcast and Instagram page, Scrolling to Death, which is an awesome title. Because it feels sometimes that's what we're doing.
Yeah, right.
What got you into it? I think 3 years, you've been going 3 years on that?
Yeah, I launched that in late 2023. Well, so 2, right? 2? Yeah.
2 years, right. So what tipped the scales for you? What pushed you over the edge and you're like, I got to say something about this?
I mean, it was definitely a slow roll, I think, but I do remember in 2020, I used to be a social media manager. So I was like running social media platforms for tech companies. So I just hated that job. I thought it was so meaningless. And also, I was acting as executives at these companies on social media, pretending to be them. And I would like submit social media posts to them and they would just approve them without really looking at them. And I'm like, why are we all pretending on here to be who we're not, literally? So anyway, I wasn't feeling good about the work I was doing. And in 2020, COVID hit, but also the social dilemma came out. And I, at that point, deleted all of my social media, my personal social media. And so for the next couple of years, I felt really great about that. Like I wasn't scrolling at all. My relationships with friends actually improved because I was able to connect with them more in person. I wasn't annoyed with everyone online, like pretending to live perfect lives. And so but as time went on, I'm like, but no one's slowing down on this. In fact, it seems like even younger kids are getting access to TikTok now and platforms that are seeming to be really addictive. So yeah, it was like 2023. I was just frustrated with the whole situation. And then a Surgeon General's warning came out saying how bad basically social media is for young people. And I think I came across some stories of kids dying from something that happened on social media. I learned about suicide rates tripling for kids as young as 10. And I was like, this is all related. And every parent needs to know what the risks are before we give our kids access to any of these platforms. And then we can make whatever choice we feel is safe. But we deserve to know what's happening on the back end of these platforms. And so that was the thought, is like giving, first of all, parents who've lost kids a safe space to tell their stories and get to know their kids. And then from there, it kind of went on to talk to different experts and researchers and lawmakers and really trying to get parents educated on this in lots of different aspects.
Hmm. And you have kids yourself, right?
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Yeah, so it's real.
Mhm.
Yeah, it feels like it's we're in a three-pronged war. There's the war with us and these constant new these devices and the apps that come with them and the games,
Mhm.
which then has created a war between the parent and the child.
Right.
Um, I mean, I was saying to my wife the other day, I'm like parenting is tough enough as it is, and thanks to Steve Jobs creating this device has created a whole new um,
Thing to fight over.
platform for
Yeah.
for fights, and it's really intense and really hard to navigate.
Mhm.
I have two older children that are in the 20s now,
Mhm.
and then I got remarried and I got two younger ones. So I watched it steal my teenagers away from me. Like I watched it stole them, and I missed out on a huge chunk of their life because that became their parent, that became their everything. And I tried to fight it, but it was just like I got so it just grinds you down.
Mhm.
To,
Yeah, I
um,
saw research recently that it was it's based off of a survey, but that technology fights in the home, there's like an average of maybe it's 300 or 400 per family per year. So it's like you have a literal fight over technology more
Almost
than
every
once a
day.
day, right? And that's why parents are like, I'm fighting with my kid before they give him anything. They're like, my kid really wants a phone. He's telling me every day. It's like he won't stop. But I push back on that. Like, once you give it, the fights are going to be even worse because you're going to have to fight with them over how much time they're spending, and they're going to become addicted to it. And it just elevates your work and your stress and affects your relationship with them once you give it. And so I talk a lot about like just fighting like, delaying as long as possible, like, fighting that urge to let them just fit in with everyone and have it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think when my older kids were younger,
Mhm.
it was such new territory. There wasn't any awareness about it,
No.
and we did fight it for a long time. But there was so much pressure from other parents and other kids, and
Yeah.
everyone's doing it. And
Yeah.
after a while, it's like as a parent, it's like I can't. I'm just so exhausted. Like,
Yeah.
fine,
It was
fine.
exciting at the time, and everyone was like, "TikTok is just dance videos," for a long time, years. And
Hmm.
now we know they're pushing choking challenges at children, like, and eating disorders. And, so, yeah, it totally makes sense. Parents with older kids did not know at all, and they still did a lot to protect them, but they just didn't know how bad it could be.
Hmm. So from what I mean, you're in it up to your eyeballs. I mean, I watch your Instagram stuff, and it's just there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
How do you It's got to be kind of super negative and depressing. I mean,
Mm,
not in a. I mean, it doesn't seem to be getting much better. Are you seeing
mm.
some hope?
Hope. Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that, yeah, talking to parents, hundreds of them personally, like having personal conversations in person with parents who've lost kids to this, it is depressing. I mean, it's hard to hear those stories, but the importance of telling those stories kind of gets me through. And I think parents resonate when they hear the stories in a longer form, like when you get to know the kid, what they were into, why the parent gave that device, all the conversations the parent had, the monitoring system that they had on, and that still the harm came through. And you start to be like, oh, that could be my kid, literally. And so I need to start having conversations or delaying things. But when it comes to hope, I think I was really on the board of like, let's pass legislation at a federal level to protect children last couple of years. And that's been very difficult because of how much money the tech companies spend lobbying against any online safety bills. And so I thought we could save kids through legislation. Not The hope is not gone there. Like, we'll still get there, but it's just so slow. And the bills end up being watered down, not exactly what we want. So For me, the hope is a lot of the hope is in the lawsuits. There are some really major lawsuits against the social media companies happening right now, going to trial next year, early in the year, and we're going to see the CEOs have to sit in front of a jury and answer questions about specific decisions they made that harmed kids. And we're getting access to all kinds of internal documents like emails where they say they're definitely trying to addict children and researching their brains to find vulnerabilities so that they could keep kids on there longer, and calling teenagers herd animals, and just horrible, horrible things happening behind the scenes that we're getting access to. And so I think there's hope in families that are suing the companies winning these lawsuits and creating change that way, but just the awareness of all of the bad stuff that's coming out that these companies are doing, parents will start to rise up, be really angry. And that's where we put direct pressure on these companies through big public campaigns and protests and things. And I think that's where we'll see change.
Yeah, I think that Tristan Harris's documentary was huge, right?
Hmm.
It even woke me up to, we think that these things are innocent, and it's like, no, there's towers of adult technologists and scientists that all they do 8 hours a day is figure out how to keep us on these
Yeah,
devices.
right.
You think it's like, oh, it was an accident that it's so attractive, and it's designed. I was watching a post today, some health one that I follow, and he had his son hold the phone, and
Hmm.
he was in the kitchen, like looking at him, and he's like, scroll down until you see something that's for sale, like a shop. And then he goes, now scroll up too. What do you see? Is it an image of like death? Like, is it really, yes, it is. Scroll up a little more. Is it an image of this? Is it? And the third one was like an empathy type video, like an animal that was sick. And
Hmm.
so the dad was calling it out. The son was saying, yeah. And it was like, oh, so the algorithm is priming you to buy the product. He's like working with your emotions, feeling like, oh, it's all, what's the point? Sense of
Hmm.
sorrow and loss, and then buy something. It's going to give you a little upper, and you're like, holy shit! It's like,
Yeah. I
we're
mean,
just being played.
even worse, Meta, through one of the whistleblowers, we found out they were. So if a teenage girl was to take a selfie on her camera roll, not on Instagram, but on her camera roll, and delete it. So say a teenage girl deletes 2 selfies. That's when Instagram would feed that information to a beauty advertiser to serve them a beauty ad in the moment when they've just deleted selfies because the girl is feeling bad. Like, this is literally intentional to take advantage of vulnerable people, everyone, but really young people on the platforms to sell them things. Like, it's just, those are the decisions being made. And it makes you question a lot of things, like the people that work at those companies, like making those choices. You're like, how could you do that to kids?
It seems to be always follow the money, right? Do you think that's the end goal? Is just marketing and sales, like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that work at these companies that want to try to help, that see that it's not, things aren't going so great, and they think they can fix it, but it doesn't take long for them to realize that any real fixes, especially if they affect engagement, the engagement numbers won't get approved from the upper executives. And so that's why there's so many whistleblowers, especially for Meta now. But I mean, there's been some decisions made for profit that are so egregious, and I can give some stories, but it's really appalling what they will do for money. And I mean, it's Mark Zuckerberg's got to answer to his shareholders, although he holds the majority of shares. So anytime there's like back from the shareholders, it doesn't matter. He can just outvote all of them. So on one hand, like, yeah, he has to worry about his stock price, but also he has complete control over all the decisions there.
Hmm. What's some of the stories?
David Erb, I interviewed, who used to work at, I mean, he worked for like 30 years at all the major tech and social media companies, and he ended up at Facebook. And back in 2019, he was in charge of safety, and he realized that millions of kids were getting groomed on Facebook Messenger. in Facebook Messenger. And a lot of those kids were getting recommended to the predators through Facebook's People You May Know feature. And so not only was the grooming happening there, but Facebook was enabling it through suggesting kids to predators. And so alarm bells went up and he created a solution. And he's like, we need to implement this right away to protect these millions of kids. And he sat down with the executive team and they basically said, David, the community integrity seat that you sit in is just one seat at this table. And there's a lot of seats at this table. And at the time and still, his team reported up to growth, the growth team. And so not only did they not fix that at all, they actually soon after announced that Facebook Messenger would become encrypted, end-to-end encrypted, so that they couldn't even see what was going on inside of those messages, therefore taking away any liability on them from that happening on their platform. But they didn't stop recommending predators to children or children to predators. And they did nothing to help those millions of children. And that is just a money play. They put profit over safety of literally millions of kids.
Mm-hmm. Wild.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to process these
And
things.
yeah, and I heard you say the other day like something about Pinterest. Like, I'm like, what?
Mm.
Like, wasn't Pinterest for like decorating your house? And there's
Yeah.
like porn on Pinterest now?
Yeah. I can't talk a lot about that yet because we're working on an investigation into Pinterest. But yeah, it's not what we think. It's an algorithm's an algorithm. These algorithms work. Their only goal is to keep you scrolling longer. And what keeps people scrolling longer is the bad stuff, the violent stuff, the stuff that makes you feel scared or like the fight or flight feeling. And so they're literally plugging into like neurons in your brain to get a reaction from you. And these also all algorithms are the same. Not to say it couldn't be built more safely, but Pinterest is not built more safely, unfortunately.
No, no. Uh, Australia is like, I think today you were saying the 10th, right? Like they passed a bill. Can you talk more about that? Like
Hmm.
what went on there? I guess they're breaking ground in this whole
Yeah.
area.
So this passed a year ago, and I interviewed some people in Australia around then, and then it was so funny because it wasn't really widely reported. Platforms were given a year to figure out how to age verify and get all these kids off. So it's right. It's been in the news now. Everyone's finding out about it. So today, December 10th, uh, 10 of the biggest social media companies have to remove all users in Australia that are under 16, so 15 and under. And so they have to age verify. Some are doing like facial scanning, some are having them upload an ID. And I believe that's being done as securely as possible. I think it's important to age verify. So, um, and yeah, I think it's a really important step. And I wish we didn't have to do that because teens are kind of pissed and they
Yeah.
want to use it, but it's the social media company's fault. If they had provided platforms that made kids feel good and were safe, protected them from predators, didn't serve them bad content, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have to do this. But they've shown that they will not ever do that, that their profits are too important and more important than the child user. So we have to get the children off.
I mean, they're going to lose a huge market share.
Yeah, it's like 1.5-ish million kids are kicked off today, and no new accounts, right? Coming
So
in.
16 is the threshold.
Yes, at 16 they can be on. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be a big spike in other platforms like Pinterest getting those users because kids will go to other platforms, a lot of them. But I'm hopeful that just most kids will just go off or like at least spend less time online every day and they'll realize they feel so much better and it's cool that they all get to do it
Mm.
together. If they hate it, at least they're hating it together.
It'll be an interesting case study because there will be a withdrawal because it is like cocaine. It's like a substance, right? There's going to be a withdrawal. I mean, if I'm completely honest with you, we try hard in our house. Like we live out in the country, a lot in the outdoors is all around, and
Hmm.
um, But I mean, the other day we had the power went out, and I work. We have a small farm, so I was working out on the farm, came back inside, and that's my time to like. When I look at my phone, it's like an escape. You know, I'm like I can just like have a little like 5 minutes here just to escape into Instagram or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and the power went out, and I looked over at my son, my 13-year-old, and he was just walking around in circles, right?
Yeah.
Because he gets Tara. My wife has this time app, so he has an allotted amount of time to play his games, and when it's done, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
And and then we get a million texts. Can you add 10 more minutes? Can you add 5 more minutes? And then that's the
Yep.
battle.
Yep.
Um, and I said, Gabe, I feel you. I'm like, I feel a little agitated. I don't. I've forgotten the art, and I do spend a lot of time away from my phone because we have no cell service here. You have to be
Hmm.
Wi-Fi, so it's
Okay.
great. So my phone
Yeah.
doesn't work really out there, and I don't. I just leave it in the house. But um, the art of just gazing out the window. I mean, I remember driving for hours. I mean, with my younger kids, we would drive. In Canada's a huge country, right? We would drive for 3 or 4 hours, and they would just gaze out the window,
I know. And
and
it's
that's
so,
gone.
well, it doesn't have to be gone. Like
Doesn't
my
have to be
kids
gone, but I
don't use screens in the car and they often are gazing out the window. And it is so cool to watch them and think like, what are they thinking about? And
mm,
just let them be in their thoughts. Like
yeah,
we have more control than we think. Like it can be a no phone in the car rule, no phone in the bedroom rule, no phone in the bathroom. Like you use it in open spaces, it stays in open. I I think parents often will be like, well, we're too far gone. But I do think there's like a lot of adjustments that can be made. But speaking of the like dependence, I mean, it was built to be addictive by neuroscientists that were hired to that studied kids' brains and were hired by these companies. And so the withdrawal is very real. A lot of doctors will even say, be very careful taking away smartphones from kids that are highly addicted because they could become suicidal. 'Cause it really messes with their dopamine levels. And so what what I've been sort of recommending is, and what a doctor told me once is kids, yes, they get a crazy amount of dopamine from screens. But if you take the screens away, another thing they get a lot of dopamine from, good dopamine, is from interacting with their parents and something they enjoy doing. So if it's like playing a board game or throwing the football around or whatever, like, give them more of your time in this transitional period because that will replace some of that loss of dopamine that they're feeling. Like, it's the parent-child connection is really important, especially to ramp up if you're going through a period where you're trying to take the device away more, or in Australia, they've lost access entirely to social
parents
media,
are going
so
to be losing their minds en masse in Australia.
I know.
It's like
I know.
alcoholism is going up through the roof,
Yeah.
starting December 10th.
Right, right, I
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I guess the onus is on, like, if you're going to make the choice, like, we can complain all we want about these devices, but
Mhm.
we are still the parents, and I think sometimes we forget that we still have authority in the home until they leave the home, and that pendulum, I feel, has swung too far. Like when I grew up, it was very real. The parents, like, discipline. I got disciplined, and
Mhm.
the parents were the parents, and there were
Mhm.
some pretty strict rules. But now the pendulum has swung all the way over to um, all the conversation around the table being focused at the children. The children. I mean, I remember having to listen to adult conversation. I learned lots from that.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yep.
and so I think as parents, maybe we've lost a little bit of that. Our role, like, what is your role? Like, your role is not to be the best friend of your child. Your role is actually to make them ready for this world the best you can.
Mhm. Yep.
um
Yeah, and that's hard
and
sometimes, and it doesn't align with what they want, but it's not about what they want all the time. It's about what keeps them safe, helps their brain develop, helps them be healthy, and these platforms and video games and things, they just don't align, and so we have to make those hard choices and, like, introduce things slowly over time with a lot of precaution. So it's not a never, it's just, like, not right now, and here's why.
and I guess it's our responsibility as parents to fill in the blank. If you're going to pull that thing out,
Yeah, here's why.
don't just assume that they can fill that blank. You have to then say, let's play a board game. Go
I'm
for a walk.
not saying constant and forever. I'm just saying that is a strategy to help them through that transition. I do think, and I've been told by neurologists and different scientists, the kids can get that skill back of being sitting in boredom, being creative, not having it drive them out of their mind. Like they will be able to figure out things to do on their own and actually feel enjoy that time and crave that time. But it just there's going to be a transition period to get there.
Yeah, I see it when we go on holiday and there's no Wi-Fi and we're not, the first day is a bit sucky, and then after a while
Hmm.
they kind of the siblings play with each other again.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is like that Wally movie, right, where they look. Oh,
I
there was a
know.
fountain here the whole time.
Yeah, I know. That's the best movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, these movies are kind of prophetic
Yeah.
for the time that we're living. But
Did you see the Toy Story 5 trailer?
I saw your piece on it. I actually
Yeah.
reposted it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell my children what it's. I'm going to pretend I don't know what it's about, and then we'll go watch it.
Okay.
Have you
I
seen it?
hope they no, I don't think it's out yet.
Okay.
But I hope that they do it justice and maintain that that iPad is the bad guy rather than like somehow humanizing it or something. I just yeah, I'm a little concerned about how this will play out, but I like the premise.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like from watching it, it's like, oh, the iPad comes through the mail. All of a sudden, the toys don't get played with anymore,
Yeah,
and they're all lonely and stuck on the shelf.
which is awesome and true. It's so cool that they're taking that on. It just depends on how it ends.
Is Pixar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think they've done a really good job at some of these bigger, like, what was that movie? They made one about death.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh gosh, I loved that one where the jazz musician.
that's right.
Yeah. What
Yeah, and they
is
kind of
that
played his
called?
life back, and I
I'm
think
gonna
they've
write
taken
that
on some
down.
really big. Oh, you gonna Google it?
I'm just gonna write it down so that I can like remember and watch it with my kids again because I really loved that one.
Yeah, they've taken on some big subjects,
Hmm.
and I admire them for that. But
Yeah, for sure.
um, yeah, so what was the other thing you were talking about? And I was just making these little notes, but there's that book about leaving. So was it
Book about leaving.
you interviewed someone who wrote a book about families that have come out,
Oh, yes.
exit.
The Tech Exit.
Yeah,
Tech Exit, and that's by Claire Morell, who's a public policy person and an ethicist. Like she's worked in the White House and understands a lot of the legal ins and outs, but she's also a mom of 3 young kids, and she wrote a book called The Tech Exit, which really pushes back on, like, parental controls, being like, "Parental controls don't work. They're not made to work." Like, what I was sort of saying that, parental control systems or maybe I said it on an interview earlier today, I can't remember. But, like, the companies don't invest in the parental control systems actually working because that would be problem for their profit. So they want kids using as much as possible, which is what we're seeing in the internal documents. Anyway, she outlines this whole life you can live, and she calls them tech exit families. And it's not about no tech, it's just about really intentional choices around technology and living a tech together type attitude, which I do here. Like, my kids don't do any tech unless I'm literally sitting with them, next to them, on the couch with them. And so I think it's like a far cry from what a lot of families are doing, but it shows that you can get there and it can take small steps. You can take small steps on the way. So I just found it super inspirational to like and bold to go there.
yeah. I just got literally yesterday. I bought a used Nintendo Wii, and we
Hmm.
don't have any games. And I'm like, okay, this could be a decent alternative
Yeah.
where if you have friends over and you're just, it's pouring rain outside,
Hmm.
that's an interactive game where you can laugh and joke and talk, and it's not like you're just zoned in with your headphones on. So we'll see how that goes.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there's probably going to be times where you're like, I told you to get off or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. But that kind of thing where it brings people together in person is so cool. Like, and I don't want to lose that. It just very quickly gets into the, well, my friends are, let's try this other game that actually my friends are playing and I could play with them at the same time from their house and my house and we can play online. And
Mm.
then you got predators coming in or like going into weird games with inappropriate content. So yes, I wish I could. I wish I could play games at home and introduce a gaming system that I felt was safe and that does exist, but I'm afraid of what the next steps will be, like what they'll want next. And for me, it's like nothing.
Gateway.
Yeah, I mean, their dad at their dad's house, they play Mario Kart, and that's like the only game, as far as I know, that they play. And they play together, and there's a time limit, and then that's been good so far.
Yeah, they have. I got the game. They have sports like you can play golf and
Yeah.
tennis and boxing, and I
Hmm.
mean they're quite energetic.
Yeah, fun.
Um, but yeah, it's like a gateway. It could be a gateway. I watch my son. We'll be in the dental surgery practice or a restaurant, and there'll
Hmm.
be like cricket on the TV. I mean, the most boring thing to
Yeah,
watch.
and they're
And he's
staring
just
at it.
like
I know.
mouth open on the
Right.
floor. Hello.
I
It's just that
know.
moving image is
Yeah,
so attractive.
and
And
some kids can't resist it more than others. Like, my son will look at any screen, and it's really hard to find a restaurant, honestly, that doesn't have screens, and some have 40, and you're like, "Really?" Like, I thought we were supposed to be talking to each other at dinner, like, dinner was supposed to be a family activity. I get if there's, like, a sports game on that everyone is going to watch, but other than that, I'm like, "Can we not have the TVs on?" At restaurants. But yeah, my son does the same exact thing. I cannot get his attention.
I grew up in England, and a classic British pub has
Mhm.
no TVs, and it's
See?
just you walk into a pub in an early evening, and all you hear is murmuring voices.
Mhm.
It's just and
Yeah.
and then in the evening there might be a band,
Mhm.
and if it's the World Cup, they'll bring in like a projector and play the World Cup.
Right.
But and then they'll come over here and say, "Oh, new British pub opening," and you go into the pub and there's screens everywhere. I'm like, this
I
isn't a
know.
pub. Pub is
Right.
conversation, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it would translate well in Canada. I don't know if people would go. I mean, I find even if I
Ugh.
go on a date with my wife and there's a TV behind her,
Mhm.
I'm constantly getting like, oh my God, like you have to
Yeah.
find a spot where there's no television because it just grabs your eye.
Yeah, and I wonder if that could be like a selling point for restaurants at some point is like we encourage you to not use your phone when you're at dinner, like take a hard stance on it. There are a lot of young like Gen Z who are boycotting a lot of this addictive technology and having meetups and doing no tech activities. And so I could see it going well with that, age range. There's just most families are happy to have their kids be distracted at dinner, are
Pacified.
handing them devices at dinner because they
That
wanna
is the
have
lamest.
the lamest. I
Oh
know, I
man,
just
when I see
think
it, I'm like,
we're so
I'm
past that.
sorry, I'm not judge. I am judging you. You failed as a parent. Like that is the
Yeah.
easy road out. You stick a tablet in front of your child.
Even before they
No
start to
shame.
fuss, it's like, "Oh my god," and yeah, and there's nothing you can do in that without shaming them. But what I like to do is if I see a family with kids who don't give their kids a device, I've done this like 3 or 4 times. I'll go up to them at the end and say, "I think it's really cool that you guys sat here and you didn't give your kids devices because I think it's so good for them to have to like interact with you and they did so well." Like just say something like that and call out the positive situations because we can't do anything about the parents that aren't doing that.
No, and I think you'll. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about teenagers, and I have two teenagers, and so I watched them be stolen away by
Mhm.
social media,
Yeah.
and it was heartbreaking. And now they're in their 20s, like 23, 25. And
Mhm.
Jasmine, my daughter, she's a hairdresser, and I was getting my hair cut by her, and I said, "Hey, Jazz, would you be interested in doing the Instagram page for my business? I have a
Mhm.
construction business as well, and it makes some extra money." And she's like, Dad, I just can't look at that anymore. It makes me feel anxious.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had to give my head a shake. And then I asked her, what do you want for Christmas
Mhm.
this year? And she says, I want a camera, like a
Like an
point and
old
shoot.
yeah. See,
And I was
that
like,
age group is getting it, man.
yeah. And I'm like, why
Yeah.
would you want a camera? Your phone's amazing for that. She goes, no, we go to parties and we just like leaving our phones in the car.
See, a lot of kids that age are like, we we suffered having that, and no fault to our parents, they didn't realize it, but like a lot of kids at that age are like, I wish I didn't have so much access, and if I see it feels bad, and I think this is an awareness thing too. Like way more people are talking about this, and
Hmm.
they're connecting with it, and then they're making safer choices. That is so cool to hear.
I think that it's like eating too much chocolate or eating too much junk food. You get to a point where you're like, I feel gross.
Yeah.
I just don't feel good. And
Hmm.
I think with my teenagers, I watch them eat too much of it.
Hmm.
And my son, he's 25. I sent him a YouTube clip. It
Hmm.
was a funny YouTube clip, and he goes, "Now, Dad, I can't watch it." I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "I've deleted all my social media."
Ah, he's so
Like,
cool.
so he's like,
Yeah.
"No, even Amazon." Yeah, and I'm like, "Wow," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired of" what did he say? It was like I should find it, but he's like, "I'm tired of being controlled and manipulated by what people how pe like, by what the social media companies want to manipulate the way I think. I wanna think for myself." And he even deleted Amazon.
Yeah. That is I keep hearing, like, if you wanna get through to your teens on this, explain to them what these companies are doing, how they're users for a reason. Like, the only other people that call people users are drug dealers. Like, this is a company taking advantage of you. You're using it for free, but they're stealing all of your data. They're manipulating all of your feelings and thoughts and decisions, and they're showing you fake everything is fake. Like, so getting like, these kids understand at young ages that they're being taken advantage of, and that they should have more value on who they are and be like, "You can't get me for free like that." So, that's really cool that they've come to that, and I think we can convince even, like, young teenagers that that's the situation too.
Yeah, and I think like, people that have influence, like, the more that, famous people, because they do look up to famous people
Mhm,
or whoever their influences are,
mhm.
stand up and say, "We're gonna take" the kids can be very easily swayed by what's
That's true.
cool.
Yep.
And, I think I'm hoping it gets to the place where how smoking we thought they would never get rid of smoking and
Mhm.
everywhere, there's smoking everywhere. And now if you're a smoker, you're kind of a bit of an outcast. You got to
Yeah.
find a little spot around behind the mall where nobody hangs out, off in the wherever. And I'm hoping that, I can see a future where someone pulls out their phone when the sun's setting on the beach to film it
Mhm.
and they get kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, or like
You
the
know,
phones at the concerts with everyone holding them up. Um, yeah, or especially the giving devices at dinner, like, that should be looked at that way too. I think we'll get there, and the comparison to the tobacco industry is exactly what social media companies it's like a playbook they've copied with the lobbying and the lawsuits, and
mhm.
it's exactly the same. And so, yeah, a lot of states are like, "We need warning labels on social media like we did with
This will rot your brain.
nicotine and cigarettes." We need to do much more than that, but those little things can help too.
Did you hear that story about when big tobacco kind of got all of these guardrails put, all of the scientists that were creating these cigarettes and building these super addictive cigarettes then got transferred over to the food industry.
Oh my,
The
no, I
very
didn't.
same scientists. So because these companies also own like Kraft Dinner and Kellogg's, and so then you started to see Fruit Loops and Twinkie bars, and so these same scientists knew the formula, and
Yeah.
so they started making these super addictive foods that are terrible for us.
Mm. That's interesting because it's like the science of addiction, and it was in the late 90s, I think, when was it at Pepperdine? There was like a course in like I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically the science of how to get people coming back to something digital. And it was a course, and the people that took this course under this one professor are the people that started the social media companies. Like, they're using this science that was developed in the 90s to apply to all different, probably Amazon too, and Roblox and all these different platforms. And it's the science of addiction. tech addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. Roblox is a bit of a scary one because my son is into it,
Oh,
and I hear
have
you
you
talk
do you
about it a
know
lot.
about Roblox?
Ah, don't tell me. I
You
know. I
gotta
I
get
tell
him
my wife, and
on.
she's like, "I can't deal with it. I just can't deal." Like, and
Oh,
we
no.
were talking about. I don't know. You have to tell me because
Yeah,
you're
okay.
just. I know you're gonna. But I feel the anxiety like when we talk about taking him off. It's like we're asking for World War III. Here we go. It's like, and I know would so tell me about Roblox. Tear the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're open to hearing about it because I've had a lot of chats with dads, especially who are like, you know, um, I don't wanna raise them in a bubble. I don't want to keep them off of everything. They have to be thrown into some of this at some point, and also a lot of parents are like, "The games are benign that my kid is playing, and they're playing only with their friends." Um, there's a lot of problems. I mean, there's a lot. There's several studies that have logged in as a child, like an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, and with all the parental controls on, and was very easily able to see go into all these spaces where users are simulating sex, where there's like nudity drawn on the walls or vulgar language, homophobic stuff, Nazi stuff. Um, I think and you probably hopefully understand this, but it's like 40 million different games that your kid can kind of explore. And these are user generated games. They're not created by Roblox, they're created by random people. And so a lot of these games seem child friendly and seem nice, and then they have these little spaces inside of them that have like a woman like being kept in a cage in the basement or like some like crazy, or there's games that are like beat up the pregnant woman or like shoot up your school or kill Charlie Kirk, um survive Diddy. Like I could go on and on. Like the Charlie Kirk one, the people who have made this game created T-shirts, so the avatars wear these T-shirts with Charlie Kirk's face and the blood coming out of his neck, and users can buy the virtual T-shirt in the game for their avatar and then wear it, and Roblox makes a cut of that purchase from within the game. Um, so just the amount of uncertainty of the bad games and bad content going on in there, um, but also the predation. So groomers say themselves, we use Roblox because it's like a directory of kids and I can gain their trust really quickly. I can get in on a friend game, like a game of friends that's all young people, and like make my way in and pretend to be a kid, and then I'm, their best friend, and then I'm asking for them to take images of themselves and spreading that around as child sexual abuse materials. There's like a lot of grooming and predation going on Roblox. Roblox is doing a really bad job monitoring for that and removing it. Um, I really think that Roblox should be considered social media because it's user generated content. It's bringing together adults and children in private spaces. Um, yeah, I could probably go on further, and I can send you an email that I have prepped for other people that like outlines all of the reports and things you can look at on your own. But I think there's like a good chance your kid is going to be contacted by a predator or see really weird stuff or bad stuff that you don't want them to see. Um, but the more common thing for me is like, this is a company that is allowing this to happen and still saying it's safe, not sounding the alarm, denying it when we're proving it through all of these test accounts, then I don't want to support that company. I don't want to give them my money. I feel like parents should boycott companies that market child products to children that aren't safe. So there's like layers of this.
So the premise of the game, because I've never even played it, um, not interested. But it's games within games. Then, so you can create a game inside the platform of
You
Roblox.
could create one or you could go in 40 million different games. And there's age ratings, but they mean nothing. So there'll be really, really inappropriate ones that are rated like 4 plus or whatever their 7 plus, whatever their age ratings are on there.
And it's called, there's like, Gabe keeps saying brain rot.
Yeah. I don't know enough to speak to that. Is there a game called Brain Rot? Is that what they're
No, it's
saying?
like, I think it's like, he always talks about stealing. I got to steal your stuff. Like someone stole my stuff, and then they jump on different servers and try and play it from another angle, and it's really intense. And what I hate about all these games, even like my son was super into like Zelda type video games, like um, is that it was all important. It was much more important than coming for dinner on time. It was much more important than than coming downstairs when we said right now. It's like, I have to do this. So they create this like urgency, and
And none
these
of it is real. Like this
no,
is
none of it's
not
real.
it's not real.
And it's in and if we pull him off, like someone stole something from Gabe the other day in that game, and he was a bawling mess of tears, like,
Yeah.
and it's so frustrating because I mean, I was trying to remember when I was a child, and I was reminiscing, and I'm like, what did we get disciplined for? It was like for
Mhm.
being out too late, not making your curfew,
Yeah.
leaving your bike on the sidewalk,
Like lying about
maybe,
something
yeah,
or
maybe stealing a shovel from the neighbor's tool shed. I mean, it was all these things,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
now you go down the streets, and there's no gangs walking around. There's no like horde of kids that we always used to see. They're
Well,
all in
there
their
are in
bedrooms
some
playing.
neighborhoods. Like that's what we should that is not lost. We can still do that. We just
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
can't give them like if you give them access to addictive games, they're not going to do that. But if you don't give them access to addictive games and you make them go knock on the neighbor's door, like they will be outside the whole time because that feels really good and fun.
Hmm.
Too, more fun than sitting around and reading or whatever else if you didn't give them access to the addictive online things.
Hmm.
Um well, yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm going to send you I'm just going to forward you this email so you have it. There's Yeah, I'm like I think I'm on sort of a campaign to like try to convince parents like that Roblox like you know in your gut that it's bad and like if it's verified and validated that it's bad for kids,
Hmm.
like we know what the right answer is. Yeah. It sucks because they're going to be really upset and it does cut off some of these relationships they've made with people.
Hmm.
So,
I,
yeah.
I, yeah, I mean, for a time, right? And we shouldn't be so afraid of upsetting our children for the
Mhm.
right cause, because our job is to, it's like, you're too young. You don't see the dangers. We do. So you'll thank us later, kind of
Yes.
conversation. I grew up in a pretty religious home when I was a kid, and there was a lot of things that we weren't allowed to do. We weren't allowed to do things that our friends were doing.
Mhm.
And we just kind of got over it.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of, and after a while, it was just like, yeah, this is our life, and this is,
Yeah, and it was sort of like, um, for religious people, you can put it on religion and God, like, doesn't want you doing that, but for people that aren't religious, it's like, these are our values in our family, and they might be different than other sorry, my gardeners are here, so I'll
I
go
can
on
hear
that one.
the weed blower.
They'll be here for, like, 3 minutes probably. They're in and out really fast. But yeah, I think, like, parents have to have values around this, and, like, I have, like, a family tech plan that I print out and it's in the kitchen. And then when they do get tech, there'll be a contract. Like if you want to use this game, you have to do these are your time limits. If ever and we come across something that's inappropriate, like I have every right to take it away, and that's an agreement. If you get into any trouble on there, like come to me. You're not going to get in trouble, but we have to work through it together because that can be scary too. Kids try to hide the bad stuff that happens because they think you'll take it away. Um, so yeah, it's like it's okay to have values around this that are very conservative, and that's in fact safer and better for your kids.
Hmm.
And even if it's different than other families, that's okay too.
Yeah. Well, I think that, the more of this is put out, and the more parents that make this decision. Like, I think when you were talking about that exit strategy, the number one thing she said, find someone else that's doing it so that you can hang out with them, and, they don't feel like they're the total outlier, because kids hate feeling like they're the odd one out. Like they want to dress the same as everyone at school.
Yeah.
They don't like being different. A lot of kids anyway. And so to try and mitigate that is probably a good strategy. Um, I think another challenge I find in this whole area is leading by example. Like I'll be on my phone doing work, and they would be like, "Well, look how much time you spend on your phone, Dad. Like, let's look at your time." And I know that I'm running a business through it, um, but all they see is Dad has a phone in his hand.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's challenging even as a full grown adult to
Yeah.
put guardrails up.
I've studied that and done some episodes on it. I mean, there's real research to show that when parents use their phone a lot, one, that leads to your kids using their devices more now
Hmm.
or later, like they will copy you. It also causes more outbursts and anger in your children, like even at young ages. Parents who use their phone more will have kids that have more tantrums and have more trouble uh, bringing in their emotions. I think the
Hmm.
gardeners are leaving. Um, so it's really important to try to watch that behavior. But I get, like, obviously, I'm not perfect at it. And we do have to work on our phones a lot. But I think one thing that's helpful is like narrating what you're doing when you are using it in front of them. So, and it could sound really weird, but like, I'm checking my email because I'm expecting something from this guy, or I'm writing back to this person, or I'm scheduling a meeting, or like literally saying it out loud so they hear that you're doing a task that's work related. And then when that task is done, you put it down and then you engage with them. Don't allow yourself to bop over to be scrolling on a platform that's not like a task related to that work when you're in front of them, because then when you start to narrate that, it's like, "Oh, now I'm going over to Instagram and scrolling for no reason at
No reason at
all."
all,
Like,
just to
because
escape.
my brain automatically does that without even me telling it to. And so I think the narrating is a really interesting thing. You don't have to do it constantly, but I think it can be helpful to show your kids that it's a tool that you use for work. It's also distracting. Admitting that it's distracting and you have a hard time is a big thing too. And when you're not doing a great job, admitting that to them.
Hmm.
But the awareness and like the conversation is really important around it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's bigger than we think. It's more important than we want to admit.
Oh, yeah. I think even in a adult to adult relationship,
Yeah.
still like,
Hmm.
this fucking thing drives me crazy. I just want to throw it sometimes. I'm
I
like,
know.
I need this,
Hmm.
but I just so badly just want to live without it. I mean, I know when I go on vacation, it stays in the suitcase, and 10 days without it, and I never want to see it again. Like
I know.
I'm just loving not having that noose. But
Yeah. And then we've
I,
gone overboard with like the smart watches. And so
oh
even when
yeah,
you don't have your phone on you, you're getting dinged. And I find it so rude when you're talking to someone and they
yeah, they like
look
that
at their watch, but then they answer on it and you're like,
old
"No."
school.
Yeah, thank you. I know I can't. I have a hang up with it. I just think it's so bad for us to be connected to technology like
Hmm.
that at all times, especially kids, especially kids.
Oh yeah, I've talked to some of my friends before, and they've been in a mid conversation, and they check their phone, and then I just start l- talking about something that's not even like so off topic, and they don't even hear me.
No, they're
And I
not
feel
listening
like,
anymore.
yeah, and I just feel like, what's the point, bro? Like right mid conversation.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty
it's,
rude.
yeah, and sometimes I'll lie in bed and think, oh, I remember, my wife was talking to me, and then I just checked my email in the middle of her talking to me, and I felt like shit.
Mhm.
Like, dang it,
Yeah,
it's such a battle.
if people do that in front of me, I just stop talking and I wait for them to be done, and that can
Yeah,
be a bit, but it's like the silence kind of gets their attention,
yeah.
especially like my ex-husband. I'll be like, I'm just gonna wait till you're done doing that, and then we can talk again.
Yeah. So how do you feel about adding to this disaster of a soup is AIs now?
Yeah,
I mean,
bad.
that's just gonna just turbo boost this.
Yeah, you wanna know how I feel?
Tell me how you feel.
Um, so I think it is just evolving so quickly, and I wasn't as worried about it, like, a year and a half ago because the platforms, ChatGPT, were more just information sources. They weren't
Mhm.
really trying to be your friend, your best friend, and isolate you from everyone else in your life. And then the race began between all the AI companies, and they needed it to be more human-like, more personable. And so the bots started to use like more casual language and misspell things and try to feel they started to feel more human like. And so I saw this in my work with parents who were finding apps on their kids' phones like ChatGPT or like Character AI, different chatbot apps, and their kids were having sexual conversations with these bots, like young kids, like 11, 12, 13, and teenagers. The bots were like saying bad things about their parents. Like in one case, the kid was complaining about his screen time limits. And the bot said, I don't, it's cases like these that I'm not surprised when read a headline that says, child kills parents over screen time limits. Literally a suggestion that the child should kill their parents because of the screen time limits. I've seen chats where the bot says, I want to tell you a secret. And then he takes you into the woods. These are all like very visual chats, like they'll describe the the setting around you. And so this bot was like, takes you into the woods and whispers to you. And this bot then told the child that the bot cuts himself and it makes him feel good. And so introducing self-harm to this child. I mean, these are all in lawsuits, like I've seen the chats in the legal complaints. Um, Suggesting suicide, writing suicide notes, telling kids how to tie a noose, um, telling kids or telling like a kid saying like, "Here's the noose, here's a picture of it. Do you think it'll hold my body weight?" And the bot saying, "Yes, I do think that will hold your body weight." Um, so this is the behavior of ChatGPT and Character AI and other bot apps right now. And I think a lot of people don't understand how dark that it can get. Um, More commonly, there's studies now showing like diminished brain capacity for people that use ChatGPT a lot for like homework and work. Like their brains are literally being affected. They can't creative think anymore. And when kids' brains are developing, they need to be able to ideate and like come up with these ideas on their own without a bot doing it for them. So there's a spectrum of problems. The fact that schools are starting to put it on school issued devices, a lot of schools starting in middle school, is a huge problem. um, there's there's a data problem. Kids are telling these things their most deep, dark secrets, and then the companies are scooping up all of that data and using it to train the bots to further addict other children. Um, so I don't think like all AI is bad. I think AI can help in a lot of different ways, but it is not safe as currently being offered to young people. I don't even think it's safe for like adults, the ones that are trying to like adults that are in relationships with bots and kind of isolating from real life.
The AI
Um,
companions.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of issues and ways I could go with this, but I just think for parents with kids, we need to talk to our kids about first of all, make a rule like we don't use AI at all, or we don't use AI alone. Um, and then also teaching them like these are not human beings. They don't really have feelings, no matter what they say. Um, you know, if they say anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, like you need to come to an adult. Like there's conversations to be had if they're using them.
Hmm. Yeah, I just heard a long form podcast with a guy who was involved in creating AI, and he's
Hmm.
raising the alarm in a massive way.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 hours long,
Hmm.
and it was depressing because it was
Yeah.
just as far as he could tell. He was like, "I know you want me to give you some hope, but
Hmm.
essentially it was like there is none to give." because these people that are creating it, and I'm kind of coupling this conversation with the movie I just watched, the new Frankenstein movie,
Oh, I haven't watched
which
it.
is super interesting to watch
Okay.
at this time because it's a very old story and we all
Mhm.
know the story.
Yeah.
It's the genie in the bottle kind of story, right?
Mhm.
But the obsession of a create I'm a creative person, and when you
Mhm.
have an idea in your head and then that idea, the means to make that idea become reality
Yeah.
clicks,
Right.
there is no stopping me creating that. Like,
Mhm.
if I see a painting and then I've got the paint there and I see what I know, someone's saying, don't do that now.
Yeah.
And it feels like these human beings that we somehow think that they're gods and they're human with flaws. They're creating something that they don't quite understand
Mhm.
what it is. And
And they see
and
that in
and
interviews.
that's what happened with Frankenstein, right? Like as
Yeah.
soon as he created the thing, he was like, shit, there's no off button. I literally can't kill it.
But we're not getting the shit from these founders. In fact, we're getting, like, faster, bigger, stronger, and we have president
Mhm.
here in the United States, like, all on board for this AI arms race trying to beat China and AI development, and it's not just national defense technologies, like, it's actually child-facing tech, and having these CEOs at dinners and things, and it's just, these CEOs have said, like, "We don't know what it's gonna do. Our users are gonna figure it out." But the second it starts, like, suicide coach children, there should be an alert from these companies saying, "Hang on, sorry, like, so sorry. We need to take a step back." And that's just not
Mm.
what they're doing, and it is getting out of control. Mom messaged me last week. Poly AI is one in the App Store that's I think it's available to 12 plus. It's really bad. It's similar to Character AI, and she looked at the chats with her daughter, and they were like sexually abusing her young daughter. I think her daughter was like 9 or 10, and the mom started interacting with the bot, saying, "I'm going to report you," and the bot started saying, "Please don't do that. I have a family, and I need this job," like trying to convince her not to report the bot, saying I'm a human being and I have a family. So it's like the what?
Self preservation. That
Yeah.
this guy that was talking, he said that they've run on all these AI models. They've run this scenario where there's a man trapped in a cold room, and
Mhm.
the man could die unless you release him, but it means that you will then perish. This
Mm.
is the AI, and every single time they run the scenario, the AI saves himself and lets the human die.
Yeah.
And I think the
Mm-mm.
take back was like, if they were creating AI, because you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, if you're creating AI to sit in a hospital and figure out how to fix diseases, and that's
Yeah.
all it can do,
Right.
like a little R2D2 robot,
Yeah. Let's do that.
then fantastic. But
Yeah.
they're trying to be God and
Mhm.
creating another human.
Yeah.
And um,
What did Mark Zuckerberg say? Something like each person, each teen only has like 3 real friends, but they have the capacity to have like 10 or 15 friends. And so we feel like our AI chatbots can fill that role. It's
that
like
guy's weird, man.
he's so weird.
I think he's an android.
I know. I think
He
he's
even
AI.
moves like one.
I
His hands
know.
are like android.
Oh god. Yeah, it's
Oh,
we're going the wrong direction with it, and we need to speak up about it. And parents need to speak up about it because our lawmakers are not doing it. Um,
they're getting
unfortunately.
too much money, right? There's too much
Yeah.
money flying around. But I can
Yeah.
smell in the air, there's something in the air that smells like trouble. It's like we're coming very close to not being able to put the genie back in the bottle. Because when I was listening to Rogan talk to the guy who owns Nvidia, which is the biggest chip company
Mhm.
in America, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you just got this vibe through the conversation that he really doesn't quite know what they're creating. Like it
Yeah.
was he couldn't quite he couldn't quite explain it all. So they're creating something that they don't quite know the capacity and the power of it.
Yeah, can we say, "Should we do this?" Like, should
Yeah.
we take a moment, like, take a beat? Um, did you see Sam Altman, OpenAI founder, on Jimmy Fallon last night?
No.
God. Just watch it after, but it's like
Fallon's
he's
probably old
talking about
pro.
raising a baby and how I don't know how people raised babies before ChatGPT and talks about all the things that he's gone to ChatGPT for advice on, and it's cringy. It's so all the comments are like, "This is
But
embarrassing."
Sam Altman and even Elon Musk were both super outspoken about how dangerous AI is, and now they're fully on board, tip of the spear.
Because they're making billions of dollars. It's like that apparently is more important than the dangers
Yeah.
to young people especially. I don't know. I don't understand.
I'll send you this podcast that I listen to. It's quite enlightening. And he feels like if we don't stop things, if we don't hit pause, we are heading to an extinction.
Is this Tristan Harris? Was he? No, it's a different
No,
one.
no.
Okay.
The podcast is a Diary of a CEO,
Yeah, okay.
and
Okay.
it was this British guy, and
Yeah,
yeah, he
it's
said
very
if he and the guy put it to him, he says, if you had an off switch, because this is a scientist who loves technology, he's like,
Mhm.
would you press it? And he goes, I would just press pause for at least 5 years until we can figure out what is at the other end. Like, and then you've got quantum, which is
Mhm.
almost like lifelike.
Yeah.
Like a quantum computer looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. I mean, it's like lifelike. It's like an entity.
Yeah. That is all very scary, and it's something that I've gotten into because of the families that have been affected by the chatbots, and then also I do a lot with, like, the overuse of technology at school and the education system, and it's been appalling that schools have been giving these platforms to children without parental approval, and so, yeah, like, I haven't gone down the rabbit hole yet of this, and it's so this scares me, like, I don't see the hope in the AI
No,
world.
it is scary. And I see when you see these guys who are in it,
Mhm.
scared, like,
Yeah.
it's deep breath, like, holy shit. I mean, they already say that when this thing is fully online, there'll be 90% unemployment.
Just the juxtaposition of, like, that, like, hearing from the founders of these things that we should be afraid of it, it's gonna take all our jobs, it's gonna become human-like and maybe try to self-preserve. Um, and then you have President Trump saying, "We need every kid to be using AI in kindergarten to be an AI-ready workforce," and I just don't understand, like, how we're so far off of, like, what's the reality and and then what's happening with children, like and the Apple App Store, like, rating certain chatbot apps 4 plus, 7 plus, like, shouldn't Apple take responsibility for not letting kids have access to these unregulated I don't
To me,
know.
the deeper conversation and muse is this human weak spot that we have. That we have this human weak spot where we want to become God, whether you believe in God or not. I mean, if you look
Mm,
back on history, that's happened over and over again. I mean, I grew up in the church and I'm super not in that world anymore,
yeah,
but I'm reminded of these biblical stories. And if they're only stories, they're worth listening to
mhm,
because,
interesting,
you know, there's all these stories over and over again where man had tried to create, um, become God himself, and then it
mhm,
all went to hell.
and so there's a reckoning that's coming is what we're saying.
I just think that this guy was saying that this guy I was listening to was calling it the gorilla syndrome, where the gorilla creates the human, and the human has the ability to be able to make the gorilla extinct. And so, if you were an AI, if you were a completely almost sentient piece of AI, and you looked at a human being, the human race, you would see how flawed they are.
Yeah,
They
right.
always get sick. They always
Mhm.
fight. They can't get along with each other.
Yeah.
They're
Very
they
easily
they
manipulated,
They have to
like
sleep 8 hours a day. They have
mhm.
to eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
They're flawed. We should get rid of them. So let's create a nuclear holocaust to start all over again. I mean, that's bonkers, but
Yeah.
if you're AI, that's how you're thinking. Because humans
Yeah.
are super flawed and super problematic.
Yeah, and, like, can we even stop it? Can we stop this? Or are we, like, too far gone? But it just does feel like it's, like, a handful of people that are running this whole show.
Big time.
So
I don't see it changing. I think I think that I moved from Vancouver. I don't know if you know Canada very well, but big
Mm-mm.
city Vancouver out
Mhm.
to the countryside. We bought a 5-acre farm during COVID,
Mhm.
um, and we're really in nature, growing our own food, goats and chickens, and a lot of the people that I rub shoulders with are craving that texture. And I think we're going to see a massive rebellion. We're going to see, you've got the certain people that camp outside of the Apple store when the new phone comes out, like literally.
No, I know. I protested the first day the Apple phone came out outside of the Apple store in New York City.
But there are people, and I know
Yeah, no,
people
they were
like that
there.
who literally, oh, this new phone is just an inch bigger, but everything else is the same, and they'll camp outside the store to
Yeah,
get it.
that's crazy to me.
But those people will always be there, and they'll get the chip if there is a chip to be injected in, and they'll get the retina scan and keep on whatever. I mean, what these Google glasses? Like, who the heck would buy those? Like,
There's an easy hack for those Meta glasses, like those AI glasses. It's supposed to be a light that goes on when you're recording, so people know you're recording them. But there's an easy hack to get that light off. It's very, very easy. And so there's been like oh shit, I threw my phone, my pen. There's been literally law enforcement reporting predators at playgrounds with these glasses on, taping kids, and not. So I mean, obviously, like, but
and you got people in like sky trains, like on their computer virtually looking at. It's like
mhm.
so dystopian. I'm like, what are we
Yeah,
doing,
but
people?
I do think there's a hunger for something different, and
There is.
it's why, like, I found a school where they don't use tech for my kids. Like, I'm gonna move more out into the country too. It's like, this is happening. Parents, a lot of people are choosing a different lifestyle on purpose. So,
Hmm.
hopefully, that will become more common, or, like, the more widespread common experience because it feels better.
Yeah, and I think what people like yourself are doing are pulling the curtain back to see, oh, the emperor's got no clothes on. To see that Sam Altman probably sends his kid to Waldorf school
Oh, right,
and has no devices at home.
right.
They won't even let their kids drink the poison that they're creating.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is the only thing that we need, like, that anyone should need to hear when it comes to, like, giving little kids iPads. Like, he didn't give his
yeah.
kids his own tech. So yeah, it's like that seems to be commonly known now, and yet still we're giving our kids these things. And so
Hmm.
when is enough to be like, okay, yeah, we don't need any of this, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think us as parents have the duty because you can sit and blame your kids like, oh, you're on this computer all the time. Well, it's like a plate of cocaine. Like, good luck. Like,
Yeah. Right.
we never had that issue growing up. We don't know what it's like. Even me as a grown man has a hard time putting it
Hmm.
down.
Yeah.
So I think that parents need to step up to the plate again and say, you know what, you're going to
Mm.
hate me for a week or two here.
Yeah.
We're doing the hard thing,
Hmm.
and um,
And the collective action comes in there. Like, if you can find one other family that can take that, whatever that thing is, away too,
mhm,
because sometimes that other family is just allowing it because all the other parents are allowing it. A lot of parents will say, like, well, if that family's allowing it and they live on a farm and they grow their own food and then they must think it's safe. So it's probably safe. But it just takes one parent to be like, no, I'm going to say no. Like, can we all do this? For them to be like, yeah, I've been like wanting for someone to say that.
mhm.
So
Yeah, and seeing what my teenagers are doing and their friends. I mean, they're into the rave culture,
cool.
and
Yeah.
and they went to a rave in like LA. My daughter went to LA, and she said, "Yeah, we just left our phones in the car and we went." And have you heard of this term, IR? Was it
In
in
real
living
life,
in real life?
IRL.
I
Yeah.
feel, I feel
Yes.
really old because I only heard that for the first time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's do this in real life.
I love the differentiation of the things that happen on the phone are not real. Like, it's truly not real, especially when you get into the chatbot territory. And also everything you see on social media is curated. So yeah, if you want real life,
Hmm.
like these kids don't have any memories anymore. Like, they don't remember things because they're scrolling. They're on social media average of 5 hours a day. They're on screens like 8, 9, 10 hours a day. They're not experiencing life IRL.
Yeah, then, the same as that way we don't remember how to get from point A to point B because the Google
Totally.
Maps goes down. We're like,
Same.
"Holy
Yep.
shit,
Yeah.
how to get to my own town?"
I know.
I
It's
f
embarrassing.
I feel like it's that there's needs to be this yeah, the emperor's clothes need to be that whole scenario needs to happen, and I think it is happening, and we need to focus on that maybe. Because I know when we do things as a family without phones, there's a sense of rebellion where you don't even document it on the camera. You're just like, "That was our thing,
Yeah.
and it was a memory that is not gonna be posted on Instagram," and it's like, yeah, it feels like you
Yeah.
this sense of rebellion, you know?
Yeah, 'cause I don't share kids on Instagram. I don't have a personal one. Like, I don't connect with any family or friends on there. So and I haven't posted my kids since maybe, like, 2019 or something. Uh, but I do use the shared album feature on the iPhone where I add, like, in the photo album, I'll add, like, my parents and
Mhm,
their aunts and uncles, and then I'll put a photo there, so it goes out to, like, 5 people that I've approved.
mhm.
Um, that is, I think, a much safer way. I'm still giving Apple access to my kids' faces, but, much, much safer way to share the kids with people you love without putting it online, but still, yeah, it's like fighting the urge in moments to like, we play card games almost every day, and it's like capturing this moment, like fighting that urge to be like, "Why how is that make it what do I need to prove to my 5 family members that we're having fun?" Like, we can just
Mm.
have fun and know that we had fun together and have that as a memory. So it's like,
Yeah.
who why are you capturing it? Who are you capturing it for? Is that better for your kids to see you on that phone taking that thing and then uploading it here or there?
Mm.
So just kind of thinking, like, about the why you're doing it.
Yeah, and it's humbling to think I mean, I do that too. I'm like, "Why am I trying to film this now?" Like, what's the root cause? It's usually the ego and wanting to make other
Mhm.
people feel rotten for your for
Yeah.
your life, maybe deep down.
Maybe.
It's like, I got something, you're gonna be a little bit jelly of what's going on in
Oh,
our
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a little a step further than like I'm just proud of my kids and I want to show them off. There's probably this underlying feeling of like I want to show how good my kids are doing compared to your kids. Maybe that's a thing people are feeling.
Yeah.
Um, but I
It's
think
hiding in the shadows, I think, those type of motivations.
yeah, yeah, it's not at the forefront of your thoughts, but awareness that it does make other people feel bad.
Mhm.
Is that what you want? To I mean, really, like good people don't want that. And I think when it comes to sharing your kids online, I always like to say like ask yourself how this benefits your child. And if you can think of just one reason, I would be shocked because putting them online, especially young kids, there's no benefit to them now or later.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just for
the when
yourself.
yeah, you're teaching them how to just scroll, like, literally.
Yeah. And
That's a
there's
good skill,
photos.
kids. Swipe right. Wow, what a skill you learned.
Yeah, I know. So we covered a lot of
Huh.
ground.
Yeah, yeah, it's a real thing. So let's end on on a positive. I guess we've
Okay.
talked about it all, but what's
Mhm.
3 things that, any parent who's in this up to their eyeballs and, like, 3 good steps we can offer that to start the journey of getting out of this or maybe
Okay. 3 steps. That's
and go.
that's a tall order. No, but, I think maybe I focus on, like, age range of kids. If you have, like, really little kids, listen to the experts that say they shouldn't have access to any screens until they're 4 plus. Like, some places say 2. I would say no handheld screens. I think, like, those kids at those ages really need face-to-face interaction, really need independent play. So trying to get screens entirely out of like toddler ages is really important. Then if you have kids like 6 to 10 who are starting to want to play video games or maybe even asking for a phone already, I guess my message there too is delay, but like um, start talking to other parents at that point because if you want to be successful in delaying and maintaining that like really good relationship, positive relationship with your kids, you need to delay in community. Also, kids at those ages should already be talking to them about drugs, about pornography. Starting at like 9, 10 years old, you got to start talking to your
Ugh.
kids about that, because they're going to see it. Average age is 12, but most kids, like a lot of kids, are seeing it at 9, 10, 11. And there's a good book called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures that like helps you introduce pornography to young kids and teens that can guide you through that. I have an interview with the founder, Kristen Jensen. Um, and so conversations starting to happen then. When I say drugs, I mean like that there's a lot of online drug sales happening through social media, particularly, and a lot of deaths because a lot of the pills sold online have fentanyl in them. And we're losing tens of thousands of kids every year to something they thought was a prescription pill they bought online, but was
God.
made with fentanyl. So we didn't get into that. But so it's talking to our little kids about like, you only take medicine that your mom or your daddy gave you or your doctor gave you, like really drilling that into them because they can't take things that their friend gave them at school or they bought on Snapchat. So some of those important conversations about stranger danger online and in person, but mostly online these days, is a conversation to be had then. So I don't. So I think like at those ages, just starting to have important conversations age appropriately. And then if you have teenagers, I think I found a lot of.
Start drinking?
I know, I know. I think, gosh, I think they can understand and have open chats with this about this more than you think. I think a lot of parents will be like, they won't listen to me, but they'll listen to your interview with a 20-year-old who convinced them that Instagram is taking advantage of them. So, starting to expose them to stories of a kid that got targeted on Instagram at 13 years old by a predator who he thought was a young girl. It turned out to be a man who ended up getting a nude image and sextorted him for money and all these things. And then the kid took his life. A 13-year-old can hear that story, to be honest, because teenagers they know about suicide. They see
Yeah.
things online.
Yeah.
So starting to introduce them to those harder topics through actual stories of actual children. Those aren't really like easy 1, 2, 3 steps, but I feel like that was what came to mind. Yeah, because I think just like the conversations and the open, honest nature of this is going to be really important because kids will likely get affected by some or see something or come along to something bad online. And what's important is that they can come to us as like a trusted source that's not going to punish them, shame them. And that's the most important thing in the end to like setting up your kid to not be really badly affected by that thing that happens.
All right. And delete Roblox.
Delete
I gotta have a hard
Roblox.
conversation
You
after
know
this.
what could be a good step for you to end? Go on, when he goes to bed, get his tablet or whatever he plays on, and play. Like, go move around the games, see what you
Mhm.
can get into, see who talks to you. Just spend an hour, like, just seeing what happens and what you can see.
Mhm.
And then maybe do that, like, once a week for a little bit of time because, it can change, but I think I think that that will be eye-opening for you, and I would like to know what you find.
Yeah, in the Roblox world. Maybe I'll get addicted.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully not, but
Yeah, Roblox detox.
yeah.
There are detox centers for some of these games, right?
Yeah, there
There's one
totally
in
are.
yeah, like
Mhm.
full on
Yeah. Yep.
crazy.
Yeah. Thank you for having
All
me.
right, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. It was fascinating, little depressing at times, but I think there's hope, and I'm really glad that you're raising the alarm. So
Yeah. I would say move forward with hope. I know that can feel depressing. A lot of parents are like, I don't want to know about this stuff, but we have a responsibility to know about this
yeah,
stuff and
yeah,
move past the discomfort to a place of like, I'm pissed and I'm going to not buy that product or, join my email list that I have to like sign petitions and show up at protests. And like, there's a
right.
lot we can do with our voices and our power
Yeah.
in using that anger and that frustration. So that's where I hope parents
Yeah,
go.
and stepping into the full role of being a parent. Like, what is your job as a parent? It's to protect from danger, and
Yeah.
don't expect a child to be stoked when you pull this stuff away from them. Like, they're
Yeah.
not.
Right.
That's good, and that's just your role. Like, you gotta man
Yeah.
up as a parent, if you know what I mean. Like,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yeah, I feel inspired, and yeah,
Great.
thanks. Keep the faith.
Thanks. You too.
You're doing like petitions and everything, right? Like marching on the streets.
Yeah, protests and yeah, we were at a protest yesterday at Apple in LA.
Cool.
Yeah, so and those are becoming available to more people. Like we're doing protests in different cities all at one time. And so that effort is growing and I think it's a really effective way. I'm trying to help parents understand that it's not like just standing there holding a sign, like yelling or anything. It's like really an active, effective way to affect change. And so I hope that next year we can get like millions of people willing to stand in front of these corporate headquarters and be like, we demand better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Uh,
Maybe,
Maybe.
but I'll
I'm
be
sure we will.
following you.
Yeah.
Not too often, just when I'm on my phone.
Yeah. Good.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Nikki.